Welcome to this powerful explainer of the foundational principles inside your money or your life. Today, we're embarking on a journey that's going to fundamentally shift your entire relationship with wealth, with work, and honestly, with time itself. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have a complete step-by-step system to not only master your personal finances, but to reclaim your absolute most precious resource, your time. So let's dive right in and explore a framework that has literally liberated hundreds of thousands of people from the endless cycle of earning and consuming.
Your money or your life. It's a famous phrase, right? If you were walking down a dark alley, someone steps out, points a gun at you, and demands your money or your life, you wouldn't even hesitate. You'd hand over your wallet in a heartbeat. You'd choose your life for sure. Yet, the authors Vicki and Joe Dominguez point out a staggering irony about human behavior. Every single day, we unconsciously surrender our lives, our finite, irreplaceable hours on this earth, just to earn money. We trade our precious time in cubicles, in exhausting commutes, and in chronic stress, effectively handing over our actual lives for a paycheck. And the craziest part? We often don't even realize the true cost of that trade.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll be journeying chronologically through 6 core sections based on the book's 9-step framework: escaping the money trap, tracking your life energy, finding your true enough, earning and spending consciously, reaching the crossover point, and finally, ultimate financial freedom.
Okay, starting with Section 1, the money trap. Let's look at exactly how to escape the old roadmap for money.
To do this, we need a massive paradigm shift. Right now, you have to stop looking at money as mere currency. It's not just pieces of paper in your wallet or digital numbers on a screen. Money is your actual life energy. Think about it. You only have a finite amount of time on this planet. When you go to work, you are literally trading a portion of your limited, irretrievable time, attention, and physical effort, and you are receiving money in return. Money is simply life energy that you've stored up.
Because of this new definition, buying something means you aren't just spending dollars, you are permanently trading a fraction of your finite existence. If you buy a $100 pair of shoes you don't really need, you've just spent the actual unrecoverable hours of your life it took to earn that money. The authors put it perfectly. We aren't making a living, we're making a dying. If your default goal is simply to acquire more, you are going to spend your entire life energy running on an exhausting treadmill that literally never stops.
Moving into Section 2, tracking your life energy. This covers steps 1, 2, and 3, which are all about making peace with your past and your present.
Now, these foundational first 3 steps require some brutal honesty. Step 1 asks you to calculate every single penny you have ever earned in your entire lifetime. I'm talking from your first childhood allowance to your most recent paycheck. Then you calculate your current net worth. What do you actually have to show for all that life energy you've burned over the years? Now, the book is absolutely adamant about one core rule here: no shame, no blame. Your net worth is not your self-worth. It is simply historical data. Step 2 then requires tracking every single cent that comes in and goes out moving forward, every cent. And Step 3 asks you to create a monthly tabulation, organizing those expenses into categories that reflect your actual behavior. It's basically holding up a mirror to how you truly live your life.
To understand the true depth of Step 2, we have to look at the shocking real hourly wage concept. The book provides this striking example where a worker's apparent $25 an hour salary actually shrinks down to a mere $10 an hour. Let me break down exactly how this staggering drop happens, because calculating this for yourself will forever change how you view your job.
This dramatic drop happens because your job drains far more than just the physical hours you sit at your desk. You have to factor in the hidden, uncompensated costs of your employment. You spend unpaid time and gas money commuting. You buy specific, expensive clothes just for work. You spend money on quick convenience meals you wouldn't otherwise eat because you're too tired to cook. And you spend precious weekend hours simply decompressing and recovering from the sheer stress of the job. When you add up all those extra hours you devote to the job and subtract all those work-related expenses from your pay, your real hourly wage plummets. When you finally realize your real hourly wage is maybe only $10 an hour, a $100 purchase isn't just a casual tap of a credit card anymore. It represents 10 grueling hours of your actual life energy. You have to start asking yourself, is this thing really worth 10 hours of my life?
That realization brings us perfectly into Section 3, finding your true enough. This is Step 4, featuring the 3 questions that will transform everything.
For every single spending category on that monthly tabulation we just talked about, you must ruthlessly ask yourself 3 life-transforming questions. Number 1, did you receive fulfillment and satisfaction in proportion to the life energy you spend? 2, is this expenditure genuinely aligned with your core values and your life purpose? And 3, how might this expenditure change if you didn't have to work for money? Think about it. If you didn't have to cope with the daily grind of your job, would you really still spend so much on fast food, expensive escapist vacations, or weekend retail therapy? This questioning process is amazing because it ruthlessly trims away all your unconscious autopilot spending.
And this leads us to a profound realization. Endless accumulation provides absolutely no finish line. Defining your personal enough is literally the only true way to win the money game. Now, enough isn't about miserable deprivation. It's actually the exact peak of the fulfillment curve, the point where additional consumption no longer produces enough value to justify the precious life energy required to obtain it. Once you figure out your personal enough, money transitions from being a master that dictates your life to a simple tool that serves your life.
This sets up Section 4, Earning and Spending Consciously. Steps 6 and 7 are all about maximizing joy and minimizing waste.
Step 6 introduces a beautiful concept called creative frugality. Listen, this isn't about penny pinching or living a life of miserable deprivation. The book totally redefines frugality as extracting the absolute maximum joy from everything you already have. A person who owns 10 high-quality items and wears them joyfully for years is far more frugal and far happier than someone who constantly buys cheap items and constantly has to replace them. Frugality is about repairing, reusing, and honoring the resources and life energy embedded in your possessions. It's a massive double win. You save your life energy, and you simultaneously reduce environmental waste.
Step 7 tackles the other side of the equation, your income. Since you are actively trading your precious life energy, you have a strict obligation to yourself to value it. You should seek the absolute highest pay consistent with your health and your integrity. The book shares this incredible story of Nina, who started out as a minimum-wage motel maid. By tracking the real value of her work and refusing to settle for less than her life energy was worth, she transitioned to administrative roles and eventually became an executive director, quadrupling her income. But as you optimize your career for higher pay and cut out toxic consumerism, you have to remember the book's core mantra: no shame, no blame. Treat all your past financial mistakes purely as historical data. Don't beat yourself up. You are simply making much better exchanges moving forward. And that disciplined tracking naturally leads us to Section 5, reaching the crossover point. This covers Steps 5 and 8, the actual mathematics of freedom.
Step 8 introduces the crossover point, which is quite literally the exact mathematical destination where your employment shifts from being mandatory to entirely optional. As you decrease your expenses through that creative frugality we talked about, and you increase your income by valuing your time, a gap forms. That growing gap is your savings. When you convert those savings into capital, meaning investments that generate their own passive income, you begin your march toward the crossover point.
To make this real, Step 5 requires creating a highly visible wall chart where you graph these intersecting lines month after month. The book highlights a couple, Mike and Linda Linick, who started their journey burdened with heavy debt. But by updating their wall chart every single month, they turned this abstract financial goal into a living, moving picture of their future. Picture this. One line on the chart represents your living expenses slowly going down. Another line represents your investment income slowly rising. When those two lines finally intersect on your chart, boom, you have achieved financial independence. You've transformed a vague pipe dream into a highly visible, inevitable trajectory. Seeing that finite horizon dramatically changes your psychology. When you look up at your wall chart and realize that your dependence on a paycheck actually has an expiration date, it converts your daily job from feeling like a permanent prison sentence into a temporary exchange. You might even find yourself working better, with more integrity and focus, simply because you know you are no longer trapped. You are working by choice to cross that finish line.
And finally, Section 6, Ultimate Financial Freedom. Let's look at Step 9 and what's known as the 4 FIs.
Step 9 outlines the actual mechanics of investing to sustain your new freedom. The book urges you to educate yourself and construct 3 solid pillars of enduring wealth. First is your capital, which is the income-producing core of your independence.
Second is your cushion, which is 6 months of highly liquid, ready cash to protect you from unexpected emergencies. And third is your cash, which is the ongoing surplus generated by living your newly optimized life. The authors heavily emphasize that you should not rely on external gurus to do this for you. You must think for yourself, educate yourself, and become knowledgeable enough to make conscious financial decisions that align with your own risk tolerance and personal values.
When all 9 steps are completed, you unlock what they call the 4 Fs, evolving through stages of absolute mastery. First, financial intelligence. You know the raw numbers and facts of your money. Second, financial integrity. Your earning and spending perfectly aligned with your deepest values. Third, financial independence. Your capital sustains you and you work purely by choice. And finally, financial interdependence. This last point is absolutely beautiful. Independence does not mean isolation. Achieving freedom allows you to dedicate your time, your newly freed life energy, to your community, to your loved ones, and to fundamentally improving the world around you.
The authors masterfully remind us that this entire explainer isn't just about never working again. It's about claiming absolute sovereignty over your own attention and decisions. You might still choose to work. You might write a book, teach, build a homestead, volunteer, or start a crazy passion project. But you will be doing it because it expresses who you truly are, not because you're economically forced to do it just to survive. Ultimately, choice is the true luxury.
So, as you embark on this 9-step journey today, I want you to remember that these steps provide the complete system to reclaim your time, track your life energy, lower your waste, raise your value, and plot your course to the crossover point. But the ultimate question isn't how much money you want. The real question is, when you finally have enough money, what will you choose to do with the life you have left? Start making that choice today. If this explainer shifted your perspective, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who really needs to hear this message. Until next time, keep optimizing.